Good evening, everyone. This is ForteMaestro, and welcome to the Lotro stream tonight. Yes. I know I am not Shoemaker. Fortunately, Shoemaker can't make it tonight. He has actually other things that are happening. Good evening, everyone. Let me fix my screen here. Good evening, everyone. So it doesn't. Hold on here. There we go. To the Lotro stream tonight. And so. Yes. I know I am not Shoemaker. Hope everyone's doing tonight. Hope everyone's doing. Yeah, as I was saying, Shoemaker can't make it tonight. He has actually other things that are happening. All right, let's wait till that duplication repeats back. So the echo. There we go. And so, yes, I know. Let's wait for it to stop. Hope everyone's doing. Yeah, as I was saying, Shoemaker can't make it tonight. He has actually other things that are happening. Maybe I'll stop momentarily. Let's wait till that duplication repeats back. So the echo. There we go. And so, actually, I know what the problem is. Hold on here. There we go. I actually have two opening up here. Okay. Well, thank you all for joining me tonight. And so tonight, I actually wanted to start a new series here on the Lotro stream. There's a lot of, when you're out here in Lord of the Rings Online, there's a lot of things that you see everywhere. You see objects, you see buildings, you see all those pillars, you see all those structures. And so I wanted to take this series to explore area by area and checking out the different towns, the different symbols, and kind of discuss what they're about and even communicate with you guys in chat to see what you think about it. And a lot of the stuff in here I don't know about. And so a lot of this stuff I'm going to be exploring for the first time. And I've already did a little bit of exploring just beforehand when I had this idea of doing this. And actually ended up learning a lot of stuff. So I thought, this actually would be pretty cool for everyone. So again, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight, or joining me tonight. And so to begin the series, I'm actually here in, let me get my music going here so you can actually have a little bit of sound. I guess it is going. It's just kind of holding itself back a little bit. There we go. And so here we are in Archet. Those of you who have played, Archet itself is actually the beginning starting point for hobbits and for man. And it has two states. If you can looking around here, it looks pretty kind of ran down. And many of you who've actually played it, will actually know. There is a big destruction that occurs. The town pretty much burns down, and the folks, the individuals that are here, are pretty much here to pretty much remodel, rebuild, and go on. But there's still a lot here actually to learn, and even about Archet itself. And so I wanted to start here, since that's where the humans actually start. I wanted to start here in Archet and kind of explore the couple different things here that I've actually uncovered. So to begin, I wanted to read some information here about Archet. And as, of course, those of you who know about it, Archet is actually a settlement located in the area of Archet Dale. So it's actually the area itself is called Archet Dale. And the town is located northeast of Bree, just north of Combe, and is a starting point, as I said, for hobbits and man characters. Now, at this time, during the introduction quest, Archet was a thriving and busy place. However, when the brigands began to assault on Archet, which is one of the starter quests for hobbits and man during the prequel, during not the prequel but the introduction, it was actually scattered and burned in ashes, and many settlements lost their lives. Now at this time, John Brackenbrook is actually in charge of its restoration while commanding its defenses. Now there's a little bit of lore here, or back history of understanding what Archet is about. And so I wanted to kind of go over this here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pop this up here so I can still see you guys in the stream. So if you have any questions or have any comments. Archet is actually the Old English meaning forest edge. that actually makes sense because of the fact that it's on the edge of the forest here. And indeed, that's the case for the situation. Now, Archit is a small hamlet. Actually, let me make sure. Is my audio on? Yeah, my audio is on. Okay. Archit is a small hamlet in Breeland, lying to the northeast of Breetown, nestled in the edge of the Chet Wood. Now, the town and its underlying lands are inhabited by farmers and other rustic folk, now who have little use for the bustle of the big town life, which is Bree, which is nearby. Now, a few hobbits dwell here, but the inhabitants are predominantly the big folk. Now, little is actually said in the of Archit in Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, other than a brief description of its location and an illustration to the troubles with robbers in the region. So this is actually where the Black Vault ended up coming in. This makes a perfect background for the locating the starter area for new Hobbit and Man characters to this town. Now, the lack of any real authority and peaceful nature of Archit's people have recently drawn the attentions of a band of brigands known as the Black Vaults. Now, though rumors has it that the Black Vaults have much darker goals than terrifying common folk and farmers. To counter this threat, a retired sellsword, which I didn't know. Let me adjust the sound here, so let me know if the sound seems on the stream is okay. Just want to make sure you guys can hear it. But a retired sellsword by the name of Captain Brockenbrook has begun organizing the townfolk into a makeshift garrison to repel the advances of the brigands. Now, I didn't realize that John Brockenbrook, which is the, pull this up here, John Brockenbrook, which is the son, and he's actually, where is he at? There's the constable. I think he's actually, isn't he over by, I can't remember where he's actually at. Oh, is he back over here? But John Brockenbrook, the son of the captain, I didn't realize that because he's taken over, that all the men out here are actually just pretty much hired sellswords. They're formed into an actual militia. I was actually thinking that they were actually soldiers of the Breeland of Bree, and so you can kind of see that if you look at the actual coat of arms there. And I think that's actually the coat of arms of probably the captain, or of course, obviously, it's the coat of arms for the guards. But I thought that was interesting to actually learn the fact that he really, it was a sword for hire that actually took over the whole idea of taking over the protection of Archit itself. And so I thought that was pretty cool, and that's something I wanted to share about that. Now, there are some other areas here. I'm going to show you the map here, which I have to pop this over here, of the Dale. This is actually considered the Dale of Archit, and there's a couple places here of interest that I found, and mainly that have a little bit to do with lore, is the Roost and Bronway's Folly. But again, not a lot is known about this area, or at least exists in the lore itself. So I wanted to kind of come over here and kind of explore Bronway's Folly. I know there's more information about Bronway's Folly, but there is some information that I haven't been able to kind of uncover. I couldn't locate the main information because really not a lot of it is actually mentioned in the actual lore. So if anyone has any tidbits of information regarding Bronway's Folly over here, you're more than welcome to throw it there in chat. But let me get this while I'm running over there. Let me get this information pulled up here, which I thought was pretty cool. And so we are talking about with Bronway's Folly. All right. Make sure I'm not running into anything. All right, there we go. So as you look at it, it has the typical architecture of like the old kingdoms of Honorian, and when everything's stretched up here. And from up here, let's take a look at the information. Now the ruins are actually located obviously in this center. Ooh, that's kind of loud. Let me fix that. The ruins are located in the center of Archet Dale. They were also known, or the Archets of Dale, they were also known for obviously the King's Foil flowers with their healing potency. However, recently wolves have overrun the ruins itself. Now I wanted to take a look here. Now Bronway's Folly is actually an ancient ruin located in the Archet Dale area. Little lore remains from the days of the North Kingdom, which is, I believe, is can't remember what the North Kingdom was called. But it's also, but it is said that these ruins are all that remain of a Coeur d'Alene lord's failed attempt to hold back the wrath of Angmar. So apparently, this area here was set to protect the actual lands of Angmar here. So I'm gonna pop up our lands here, and again, you have to realize where Breeland is. So we have Breeland here. And Archet, where are we at here? We're down, or we're right here. Archet's kind of right here, so it's kind of almost in the center of Breeland. And so we're looking for here, and we're still quite a ways from Angmar. So here's Eriador, and Angmar is up here. So pretty much the only thing that's in between there, you got North Downs and Angmar. Unless there is somehow a way to get there through the Eight Moors. And so it kind of makes sense here. It's kind of almost a central area here, so it could be, obviously an area in which it could be used as protection. But as it knows, a lot of the ruins you see everywhere are actually pretty much like forts when you actually look at the lore of it. Now, there's one other area here in Archet that I wanted to take a look at here, the Blackvald's Roost. So I'm going to get this information pulled up here. If you guys have any questions or any comments, please feel free to let me know here. Throw it here in chat. So let me get this pulled up. Oh, it's up here. Duh. Alright, so Blackvald's Roost. Alright, so let's go and come on, let's go and run on over there. Now, if you notice, is actually the Archet Dale is actually a pretty cool protective area. Because actually the only entrance is actually through this area here, going towards Combe. So I'm wondering actually how the Blackvolds really got in here, unless they're based off of like the, oops, we're over here, based off the actual population itself. Locals actually became the bandits themselves. Now this area here is actually the first area, and there's that tower right there. This tower is actually very much like the tower in the Shire, which you'll see that when we get there. So it looks like this could have been, I don't know what this could have been. It looks like just a tower. There's no doors on it in which it could have like extended higher. But if you notice up here at the top, it's actually, there was structures up on the hill itself. And so I'm wondering if this was either a wall, but because we have architecture on the side here, that far right side, that's pretty much like where it ended. So it's not like this far right side was kind of broken off, but this whole area over here is broken off itself. So I don't know if this was a wall of some sort to keep people out from that outer area, which would have been this area in here. So I'm wondering if it was intended to keep things out, or if it had been a structure in which some sort of like bridge or like platform stretched across there. But the main structure, and there's again, you see this like the which actually is very similar to the star I have on my back, but this star shape. But again, it's kind of opposite there. It's like what, 7 stars? So it's like the 7 star symbol that you see around. So, obviously it kind of relates back to the North Kingdom. But then over here, the Black Vault's Roost, again, these are still the same, so you still have the star structures over there. It's same North Kingdom remnants. Obviously, it's been taken over by the actual... See, and you see right here, all the 7 stars. There's a 7-pointed star. Now, as to the other symbol, see the bigger symbol in the middle? It kind of looks like, like a torch, or even like a trident. I haven't really figured out where that's remnants from, or what it's representation of. But this whole area, everything appears gray to me, so it's hard to kind of see them. Well, this whole area is swarming by them, and you have all the same star structures kind of spread around here on the ground. And so you actually even have the areas, the platforms up there, which is pretty cool. But if you kind of see, it kind of layers up there, where you actually have another set of... I'm going to see if you can... I'm going to fix this so you can actually see my mouse, hopefully. It should be showing. I don't know if it's shown on the screen. It's kind of offset, which is kind of weird. The way it offsets on where it's positioned. I guess now it's finally looking where... Well, it's kind of offset to the left a little bit. But this structure right here, so it actually looks like this whole area was actually like a 3rd floor. You have the bottom floor, you have the 3rd floor, the 2nd floor, and you have the 3rd floor. Actually, it's 4 stories. Unless the area that we are now is like a basement area. Because of the way that the rocks are, it actually almost looks like we're in like a basement section. But of course, you also have... Again, these are statues here, but they appear to be... They almost appear to be slightly different, but I think they're actually depicting the same thing. You see these actually statues everywhere. So this is actually very much like the Fortress and the Lone Lands, which eventually in the series we're actually going to get to. But let me go and read a little bit on this. There's that here. This ruined fortress is actually located in the eastern area of Archet Dale. Once it was an abode of the men of Arnor. Now these ruins host an unruly mob of outlaws called themselves the Black Vaults. Now again, this is actually the first time we encounter the Black Vaults. This is also it's part of 2 deeds. Obviously the ruins of Breland, but it's also part of the history of the Dunedain deed. So again, this actually traces itself back to the lineage of the Dunedains, back to back to the old kings. But again, this is where we see all the Black Vaults, and I kind of want to read up and kind of... It's really not a lot about them. You see the Black Vaults here, and you also see it in the outside of the comb itself, or outside of the dale. And that you find them as far out, because we have Archet here. You have them up in the actual Chetwood, and you find them actually in Anandrath, but this is actually this far area that you find them in. You don't find them in the Midgewood water, the marsh. And so that's pretty much the extent of them. So I'm wondering if they're just, obviously they're local brigands. But I just thought this area was cool to actually look at, the fact that this could have been a larger structure. Obviously, the Branway's Folly was like a smaller, like a fort, like kind of like a watch spot. Now, this right here, which is part of the Dunedain quest, and I'm going to get that pulled up here, the Dunedain deed, I mean. You actually are supposed to come in here and actually interact with it. This is actually, it's the Kjorn, the Dunedain Kjorn, which is actually a burial. So you actually, a long spent Dunedain king or even some sort of ancestor is actually buried right underneath it. So I thought that was actually pretty cool, because you have these deeds, but if you really look at it and kind of understand the story behind it, it's actually pretty cool. So this actually, for the most part, in regards to the actual lore itself that I've found, This is pretty much the most that you find here. Now, way back, when you actually were able to go into the actual where the spiders are, like the little caves there, there's some stuff in there, but there's really not, those individuals, like the characters themselves, or like the, I guess like the Spider Queen that you actually find underneath the actual in the cave there, and that you also encounter through previous farm. I haven't really found her, that spider itself, in lore. So there's a lot that, of course, obviously that turbine and now Standing Stone has actually added. But I thought, taking with the existing lore and actually adding these existing locations, I thought that was pretty cool. So that was pretty much the majority of what I found here in Archit. If anyone knows of any other information in here, please feel free to let me know. But I thought that was cool in there. And so what I wanted to do now, the next area in which we would proceed to, out of Archit itself, would be coming, of course, we have the Archit Dale, would actually be coming to the Combe area. So I kind of want to spread out towards there. And again, I haven't really looked into a lot of the lore in the area here. So a lot of these areas that we're going to be encountering and the information we're going to be uncovering is actually information that I haven't know, other than a couple things doing quests, I haven't really discovered for myself. So I thought that would be a cool thing to be able to look at. So there's a number of you in chat. So how's everyone doing? Any questions? Any thoughts? Any ideas from what you've seen in this area? Music. Where did our music go? There we go. There we got some little music thrown back in there. Okay, so we're going to be heading out of Archit Dale, heading towards Combe. And while I'm getting that pulled up, or while he's running, I'm going to get this pulled up here. It's still freezing up a little bit, which is not nice. Alright, so where are we going here? I'm probably hitting... Oh, there's a go time right here. I'm probably hitting the wall somewhere, right? I don't know. Can't see. Where am I? Yep, up. Folly here. Okay. And so it's cool. It's actually this up here looks like an actual watchtower, which is actually pretty cool. The second layer almost looks like the weather top area. Kind of top area, kind of watch out, look at everything. I mean, it's weird because you don't look at if you look at these, it just doesn't look like it was some sort of dwelling where you actually have external doors. I've never been able to find, I mean, unless this one was a lot bigger, because you do have these parts out here. You really other than these platforms, you really don't have any dwelling areas. No space for anything, unless you have these towers up there. So obviously, or the pillars. So obviously you would have had roofs, but there's just no evidence of really anyone actually living here. It's probably just more like a watch post. But again, where they lived, I have no idea. So let's head out towards Combe. There we go, this direction. Right? Yeah, we're over here. Oh yeah, I think this is the way. So then you actually have this other one up here. Shit, where are we at? Hold on. Oh yeah, because if you actually notice here, I think this whole area at one point was actually encircled by ruins, or actually by walls. Because if you actually see this one over here, at some point I think so that probably over there by the roost, it probably was a wall. Because then you have another tower right there, but then it stops right here. And again, a lot of this decoration here is stuff that was actually created by Turbine and Standing Stone. So it's, again, they're reaching in and actually pulling parts of lore. So parts of this is actually obviously part of lore. So then we have, this is probably the coat of arms, the heraldry of Combe, maybe, or maybe the Combe Guards. Or look at it, because it's also the free people. So either this is Combe Guards that are protecting the gate, or it's the arms of like the free people. Oh, actually, I want to look at these other guys here. So you have the gate, and so we come into Combe, which obviously is a smaller, more condensed version of, which is kind of unusual because there's not as many. But if you see that you still have, I wonder if this is actually the symbol of the free peoples, or if those flags are actually just more specific to Combe. I can't remember what the Bree flags look like. I know they added those new red ones way back, so I can't remember exactly what it was. But again, you still see the examples of like the Hobbit still here. But if you look at Constable here, it's actually his coat of arms, his heraldry is actually different. Oops, I don't want to travel. No, don't travel! If you look at his, what is he wearing? So this has got to be the Constable's, some sort of Constable's heraldry. I can't really tell. I'll probably look at the other ones to take a look at. But it's like a smaller, more bigger version of, I don't know, kind of more spread out than Archit itself. And I wanted to see what information we had about Combe itself. The Fine Town was located at the road of Bree to Archit, and smaller road forks off to the Chetwood and the Combe Lumberyard. New man characters arrive here on their way to explore the Middle-earth. While they find appropriate services, adventures, and mysteries to unwind. The residents are well aware of the tragedy of what that happened at Archit, and it welcomes a helping hand to resolve problems or prevent the Brigavans to spread further. Now, Combs hosts several interiors for crafting, combat training, and quest. Among them is you found a bard, a kinship clerk. I actually didn't know that. I thought the closest one was Bree. Armor, weapons vendors, crafting hall, and trainers, class trainers, and the more. Again, there's not a lot of lore here about it, about actual Combe itself. We do have this here, where it says, Bree was the chief village of Breeland, a small inhabited region, like an island in the empty lands round about. Besides Bree itself, there was Staddle on the other side of the hill, Combe in a deep valley, which makes sense because of the way it's structured. A deep valley, a little further eastward, and Archit on the edge of the Chetwood. Most of the inhabitants of Bree and Staddle, and many even from Combe and Archit, were crowded in the roads to see the travelers start. So that actually makes sense. And this was actually from the Fellowship of the Ring by Tolkien. So it actually makes sense that Combe and Archit, they took the whole, we're crowded in the road to see the travelers start. So it kind of makes sense why they're actually kind of making this as a travel through area of new characters, because it's based off of that. Now, one of the four settlements, and there's another piece of lore here. This was actually from the lore book. Oops, let's change that. There we go. One of the four settlements that together made up Breeland, Combe lay in the deep valley on the eastern side of the Bree Hill. It was somewhat to the north of Staddle, but not so distant from Bree as Archet on the fringes of the Chetwood. Its name comes ultimately from the Old English word Cumb, K-U-M-B, meaning a deep valley. That's actually pretty cool. Now, it's saying here it was probably founded before the Third Age of 1300. Now, I think we're in the Third Age, in like the 3000s of some sort. So it's almost like, over 1500 years old, this little town. So I thought that part was actually pretty cool. Let's see here. And so yeah, and it makes sense because if you notice, it's it's kind of in a deep valley here. You have where's Breetown, which is to the southwest, and it's pretty much nestled between the actual trees here. Now there's another area here. If you look here, if we actually head up towards the North Archet, which is actually up the hill here, we actually have another Ornorian rune there, or Cordolian rune. So I think what the North Kingdom was what, Cordolan? I think that's what it was. That makes sense because obviously in a lot of the areas here you actually get the Cordolan items for reputation. So let's head over here into the Chetwood, because there's actually the one ruin there that's actually we come across as well as we're adventuring in this area. And again, we're still on the edge of Bree itself, up in the Chetwood North. Yeah. Starting to get dark a little bit here. So that makes sense. What do they call? Yeah, hidden or what? Deep Valley, Comb, K-U-M-B. So I thought that was pretty cool. So now there's again more remnants of the actual old structures here. Now this one is not so. This is probably just. It might just have been a wall, perhaps. Maybe I don't know, maybe a stopping point. Again, a lot of these areas, a lot of these stones themselves, because you actually, that might just be a rock there, or it might be covered in moss. But if we head off this area towards the other location, this actually is a larger area. This actually structure over here, the ruin, is actually a larger area than you find in Blackvold's Ruse, Brunwade's Folly. And it actually stretches for longer than what we've seen so far. So again, they seem to be getting like the bigger and bigger as we leave this area. And it should be around this corner over here. Again, the typical structure, the typical architecture that you find here, you actually find in Anuminas. Again, you got the seven-pointed star. Seven-pointed star encircled by 6 stars. So this one, again, looks like it actually could have been 4 stories, right? And I'm wondering now, this area over here could have been some. Again, this probably looks like the inside of a tower. I wonder if there's actually stairs. There's really, there were probably like wooden stairs at once, because you actually don't see any like remnants of like the actual platforms. So I'm wondering if the roof itself may have been wood, or it just, Because you don't see any of that stuff having fallen down. Either that, or a lot of the actual rocks were just taken away. So you actually don't even see any of these pillars. Maybe they just cleaned it up. None of the pillars had fallen. Of course, you have it that is actually had. Oops, I just followed in there. It actually used some fallen rocks right here. You actually have a river that actually runs through it, and actually would actually make for a cool defense. So that actually the inside area, this actually may have been an actual castle, because you have the outside court area. And if you actually really notice a lot of the structures, you have all the pillars. It's actually pretty Greek looking, the way they built it. So I wonder if it was like either, probably when Standing Stone actually designed this, they maybe took a lot of the, because I know you do see a lot of the pillars in some of the like the artwork that was seen around. It actually makes it to be like very Greek looking, Romanesque. But again, this looks like the inside. That's like an inner keep over there. With the bridge, this is pretty much a moat, is what this is. But again, this whole area over here is kind of broken off here. So, but I wanted to kind of see what lore, what story we had behind this guy. This is the Black. This is actually right now it's considered the Blackfold's. There, it's over here. The Blackfold's headquarters. And this is here. There we go. Right there. Okay, so located in the northern section of the Checkwood, built at the mountain ridge bordering the far Chetwood. The ruined fortress once guarded the Cordolan against the armies of Angmar and Rudar, as so many other such ruins in Brelands, is now a stronghold for the Blackfold Brigavans, who ravaged the highways and plundered the neighborhoods. In fact, it might be from the location that the Brigavans managed to find a now blocked passage into the Archdale to initiate their design. Oh, really? In that area? So if you actually look at the map, I wonder, proximity-wise, so right there, I wonder, so right there probably would have been like the Black Passage, or the blocked passage. So I'm wondering if that area, or that little open area, may have been actually where, what direction are we facing? This area here, some way here, there's that open area in the, so it's actually, I'm wondering if they probably ended up going through this area, following up the ridge, up through that way, and kind of ran over the mountain there. That's probably where they actually got through there. That's actually pretty cool. And so again, we see more examples of the actual architecture here that, the local inhabitants are taking over. Again, we're still seeing the Brigabands here, or not the Brigabands, but the North Kingdom everywhere. They're still inhabiting it here. Someone should keep a tally of how many times you say actual or actually. Well, actually, someone probably is. Do you like what? Actually. Well, I could be literally, I literally could be saying literally. Literally, that would be literally annoying. I task you, was that Bardongle? I task you with keeping track of how many times I actually say actually. Okay, so that's pretty much what I had found in here. What I wanted to go now to is the Midgewater Marshes. There's actually a couple structures there. I think there's 3 structures I wanted to visit. That's actually pretty cool. And we're gonna come up this way. Oh, that's actually headed towards the wolves again. I'm just glad they're all gray to me, so I actually am not attacked. Actually, I should be. Actually, I should be on a horse. Actually. Oh, I would be in dangerous saying that many times also. Not as many times in writing, but in speech, it happens quite frequently. Yeah, it's true. Since I saw that message, I think I counted about 15. I think actually you're pretty accurate. Actually. True to the fact. Actually. Alright, I'm gonna... This light is kind of bothering me here. I'm gonna... Because I actually, at nighttime, I actually can't see it, actually. So let me do this here. I'm gonna adjust my camera. Wrong camera. Oh, that's the second one. Let me fix this here so I can brighten it up a little bit. So that way I don't have to use the lighting there. There we go! Brightness. A little better. Alright. Now I can actually see at night. Because it was actually blinded me. Now that I actually hear myself, I actually say it a lot, right? Alright, so let's take a look here. Maybe we should change the title to an actual tour. Let's actually tour the lore of Middle-earth with ForteMaestro. Okay, so let's head. Where we're heading actually is geez, there I go again. To the northern edge of the actual marsh, Midgewood Water marshes, which is actually there he goes again. Which is actually there he goes again, which is at the edge, right here, the Wood Head or Sedge ruins, and here it is right here. I mean, they're everywhere. I mean, they're like not even far from each other. And here, it's actually there it goes again. Here, just keep a tally. I mean, it's not as big as the other ones. So again, this could have been just a little fort here. But you have over here, if you look over here, there's actually there it goes again. You actually have the pedestal here, which is actually... I don't know if it's actually what it is. I'm just saying it is. But the obelisk here, which I have really never looked at. You still have the stars there. You still have... What's at the bottom? It's funny because there's other games that I've actually discovered a lot of stuff. Like, I don't know if any of you have played like games like Guild Wars and stuff like that, where I actually uncovered the hidden alphabets. I've actually deciphered those alphabets on the actual... God, it's like, what, 4 times in one sentence? Where you see the actual runes itself and discovering like the hidden meanings behind it. And this one, I actually, for the first... God, I gotta stop that. I see the ruins. You can't really pick them out. I wonder if actually can take a screenshot of this. And it's just, maybe it's just like scribbles at the bottom. You can't really tell. Maybe they're indecipherable for a reason. But this pedestal here is actually part of that same ruins or locations of the Dunedain quests that sends you over here to the pedestal. And I want to pull this one up. This is going to be in the Midgewater Marshes. Because you have the Bendabell's Rest here, the Goblin Hole Ruins, the Fort, the Midgewater Marsh, the Mustering Cave, and the Sunken Stones. We're looking here for the quest that's related here. Actually, there's a whole bunch of lore here. Here, let's talk about the Midgewater Marshes. The ground now became damp and in places boggy, and here and there they came upon pools and wide stretches of reeds and rushes filled with the warbling of little hidden birds. They had to pick their way carefully to keep both dry-footed and on their proper course. At first, they had made fan progress, but as they went on, their passage became slower and more dangerous. The marshes were bewildering and treacherous, and there was no permanent trail even for rangers to find through the sifting quagmires. The flies began to torment them, which makes sense because you have a lot of the flies around here, the biting flies. And the air was full of clouds of tiny midges that crept up their sleeves and breeches and into their hair. "I am being bitten alive!" cried Pippin. "Midgewater! There are more midges than water." That actually makes sense, the Midgewater Swamp. And that was actually from, obviously, the Fellowship of the Ring. Now, there's also another one here. It's out of the lore book. A fly-infested region of marshland in central Eriador. The lay between the Chetwood to the west and the Weather Hills to the east. Midgewater was a morass of sifting pools and took its name from the swarms of midges that filled the air. In the central regions of the marshes dwell the Knickerbreakers, so they actually are mentioned in there. Night creatures of the cricket kind, so they're actually related to the crickets. In an attempt to avoid the east-west road, Aragorn led Frodo and his companions through the marshes on their journey from Bree. Traveling slowly through the treacherous quagmire, their crossing took 2 days, from the western to the eastern edge. So if you kind of look at the map there, in the actual books themselves, this whole area going probably because they're going from Bree, so they had gone through the road here. So instead of following the actual road to the Lone Lands, they probably, it took 2 days to get across that water, which for us it takes 5 minutes, 2 minutes just to run across it. So that's actually pretty cool. Now we're at the pillar ruin here, so I'm gonna see if I have that up here. And where were we at? We were at the wood sedge ruins. It's funny because actually the information is not even mentioned. I'm gonna check here. Hold on here. Wood sedge ruins right here. Okay. These ancient ruins stand at the edge of the woods bordering the Midgewater marshes, a meager remnant of a long-forgotten age. They are found southeast of Combe Lumber Camp, and travelers may choose this route on their way to Skunkwood's farm to avoid hazards of the woods. Now I have here, and it looks, because that text, these ancient ruins stand at the edge of the Midgewater Smarts and the Chetwood, a meager remnant of a long-forgotten age, is actually the text from the actual deed itself. And it is part of the history of the Dunedain deed, and this is actually where the obelisk is. And that is right here. You found an obelisk out among the Anorian ruins, seemingly newer than the ruins themselves. Oh, really? With the names of many men carved upon it. Your only guess is that it must be some sort of memorial. So maybe it's a memorial of the fallen location, maybe, or someone who died. That's interesting. The design and the style of the names you saw there suggest that it was built by the Dunedain and given their reverence for their ancestors, there is every reason to believe that it may be the memorial for their fallen. Some of the names seem to have been added recently, suggesting that the Rangers are somehow involved. So that is what that is at the bottom. Right down there, because at the bottom, very bottom itself. Again, you can't really see them. You can see it on this side, but the actual alphabet, you can't really tell what it is. What type of like writing it is. What I might do is I have a screenshot of it, so I might see if I can blow it up and kind of see what it is. But again, pretty much the only other part of aspect of it of significance is the stars themselves. What the heck are you? Holy cow! Oh, that's okay. I actually thought that was an NPC. Because of the nobility sign. So I thought maybe it was some NPC coming over to pay his respects. But it was another player. It said nobility. I thought it was some noble of some sort nearby. See, that's what happens to you. We played too much Lotro. So you have the other pillars over here. See, actually, if you look here, holy cow. It actually, I forgot, it actually goes even farther. Over here, goes all the way over here. So it's actually much bigger than I actually realized. I mean, I've been here, and I've seen it. It's just, again, you really don't really pay attention to what you're looking at until you actually look at it. Again, this is probably the outer walls. That's the other outer walls. It looks like it may, I mean, it could have had a top floor. I mean, this looks like that's the top, that's like the top part of a first floor. Because you have the arches through this area, but I don't see any evidence of like any other, actually it's right here at the bottom. So I'm wondering if this is either the ground or this was the second floor that fell down. So we have this one here. So now let's actually head to the Midgewater Fort, which is actually right over here. Again, they're so close together. So you probably use these as, I wonder if, you know, back when these existed, if, actually it's up on the hill too. Back when these existed, if the marsh was actually here. Because I wouldn't expect them to have built this in the middle of a marsh. So this area has got to be new. I'm not sure of the age here. So this is, looks like maybe the, because that's obviously the side. And so this has got to be where the wall starts. But I don't see where it broke off from. Because usually you would see like a broken edge. So maybe this is set as the entrance. Or this area right here was set to be open. But this looks like it was a wall that followed over to it. But you don't see where it's broken off on this side as if it was like uncontinuous. So it's probably some sort of, like at some point it stopped. And like maybe an opening at some point. And so then you have the wall here. Stretches across over here. So maybe this is like an inside court of some sort. Because you have, this is a pillar, looks like. More pillars. So it actually heads towards the fort itself, which is on a hill for the most part. Where's our music? There we go. So if anyone's learned anything, let me know. You know, I've actually, just by looking at these, you know, learning a little bit about the history is actually pretty cool. Now this over here is actually another spot for that same quest, the history of the Dunedain. This is, I believe, is the memorial. What is this one? This was the altar. I think this is the altar, right? Got the crest, the cairn, the inscription. Yeah, this is the altar. You have found a carving. Oh, wrong one. The strange altar you found appeared to be Honorian in origin, with signs that some gathering or ritual had taken place here recently, because you see the flowers there. You've heard rumors that rangers here in the north occasionally gather for ceremony to declare the coming of age of one of their number. They induct where they induct the young man or woman into their ranks by way of an oath to the old kingdom. So actually, it looks like this was intended as a place to conduct the altar itself. It doesn't look like it was like some sort of sacrifice. It just seems maybe this is probably the flowers. I mean, obviously it's a Dunedain, so these activities are happening recently. Because they come here and they do their activities. So they probably come here, they trek here. That's actually a cool picture right there. They trek here to do their actual ritual to induct someone into the Dunedain. And then when they finish, they leave the flower. See, there is that trident again. Trident and the 7 stars. So this itself is the fort. And we have the surrounding walls. This most likely was the wall, because it comes over this way. We actually have steps. So maybe these are steps that actually went up to the actual... There goes actually again. On the actual... up to the walls, where it's kind of like a terror pit or something like that. And then you have the steps here. Oh, those were the same steps. Maybe those were the same steps for over there. You have... Oh, that's an archway. Oh, it's not an archway. Somehow, you had to have gotten inside. I know you have the door over here to the side. I can tell if that's like the main door was. What's up? Jalapeno on a stick. So this, I wonder if this is actually the main door right here. I mean, I know we have the quest that goes inside.